Good evening, ghoulies and ghosties and long-leggedy beasties. This is Alex coming at you from the underworld, and welcome back to another episode of I don't know about everyone else, but I have always loved driving by old houses to admire their architecture. Which, most of the time when I do this, I find myself wondering what that house would say if its walls could talk. So when I encounter a house in a book that has a lot of character to it, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to fall in love with that book because it satisfies my curiosity. And since things have been really hectic, I decided I would do this quick video, which I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but this is going to be a video where I list off 3 of the most infamous houses I've ever encountered in literature. Now, in no particular order, let the house tours from hell begin. First up is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, which I consider this to be the mother of modern-day ghost stories, as its characters, scenarios, and pacing still influences horror creators in the paranormal subgenre to this day. Also, due to how crafty Jackson was in creating the dread of this classic, it was something that scared the ever-loving living hell out of me. For those who haven't read this, it introduces Dr. Montague, who has rented Hill House over the summer. And since this Gothic mansion has an infamous reputation for being haunted, he plans to use his time here to conduct experiments so he can gain scientific proof that the supernatural is real. Which, to antagonize the situation, he has invited 2 gifted women by the names of Theodora and Eleanor who have had paranormal experiences in the past. Also joining them is the heir to Hill House named Luke, who is mostly there because his aunt just wanted to get him out of her hair for the summer. Well, as Hill House wakes up, even though the group had planned to stay there for the entire summer, their time is cut short as the house lives up to its bad reputation. Whenever someone mentions haunted houses in literature, Hill House is immediately where my mind goes. And I think the main reasons why is because not only do we have this captivating and unsettling history behind the house, but the appearance of this Gothic monstrosity is literal nightmare fuel for the fire. And to make things even more terrifying, not only does this house have an infamous reputation and its appearance is intimidating, but it feels like a living, breathing person. Specifically one that was born bad and has grown more homicidal with age. Up next is The Elementals by Michael McDowell, which, if you're unfamiliar with this author, he was the creator behind Beetlejuice and The Nightmare Before Christmas. And to be honest, there was a lot to this book that felt like a premeditation on what we later saw in Beetlejuice. Now, unfortunately, this classic didn't scare me. However, due to its perfect blend of horror and humor, I could not put this down. Also, I absolutely love how the houses on the stretch of beach known as Belledene seem like these were the kind of places that you would not want to be caught dead at. But at the same time, there was a mystery to them and a magnetism where I wanted to go there and at least stay for a weekend. This book focuses on 2 families known as the Savages and the MacRaes who have been longtime friends. Which, upon the Savages' mother passing away, the 2 families decide to return to the beach of Belledene where they had met years ago. While this seems like the perfect place to deal with family issues and reminisce on nostalgia, one of the 3 houses is being covered over by a sand dune. And it's this third uninhabitable house that has a peculiar history where we discover it's actually haunted by spirits that never existed in human form. I had read this at the start of the pandemic while we were in quarantine, and since we weren't allowed to go anywhere or do anything, this book literally transported me to the Alabama Gulf Coast and took care of my vacationing needs for that time. Now, out of the 3 houses on the beach of Belledene are concerned, 2 of those truly felt like vacation homes that I would want to go to, where I could just kick back and watch the ocean and spend my whole summer reading. Yet opposing that tranquility is the third house that holds the elementals. But even still, there's a certain richness about all three houses. Like, even with that third uninhabitable house, there is a certain magnetism to it, where if I were vacationing there, my curiosity would have gotten the better of me and I would have explored. Which, because of how this third house feels, it seems like it has the characteristics of a predator that would be urging me to let my guard down and go against my better judgment. And last is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. So this was a book that I had heard about when I was a teenager, but I never had the guts to actually read it because the format looked way too intimidating. And truth be it, had I tried it back then, I doubt I would have finished because my attention span just wasn't there. However, over the years, every time I'd go to the bookstore, this was a book that I constantly gravitated to. And a few years ago, I finally slammed my money down to give this a try, which it turned out to be one of the scariest books I have ever read. This cult classic introduces a character named Johnny who's couch surfing at his friend's apartment. And while there, they decide to break into an elderly neighbor's apartment who recently died. Then, after scrounging around, Johnny gathers up the documents that this old man had become obsessed with, which this is when the second storyline, known as the Davidson Record, emerges. At this point, Johnny becomes obsessed with the manuscript, and we see him descend a spiral into madness. Yet at the end, a third and unexpected storyline emerges, which causes us to question everything we've read since the title page. What makes this house so deceiving with all of its abilities and otherworldly dimensions is it seems like the typical ordinary house that anyone would see when going down a quaint historic neighborhood. And to top it off, this seems like the perfect place where someone would want to lay their roots and build happy memories. Yet the further we dive into the insanity, the more we come to realize that we have entered a pure land of nightmares where our world is bridged with the unknown. Also, because I became so invested in the storylines and the house, I started to feel the psychological effect of the characters, which I mostly contribute this to the book's layout. Well, that's my list, and if you would like to see more detailed reviews of these books, I've included links to their videos in the description section of this episode. Also, as I mentioned, my birthday was pretty recently, and a few of my online friends sent me some really cool presents. So, first off, these are from my good friend, Lisa G. The artist is named Doug Hops, which I absolutely love this. I love the theme of it, the colors. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's totally me. And this is another one by the same artist. Oops, try to get that glare away there. And once again, love the colors and the theme. It's something I'm totally going to have to find wall space for. And if you would like to check out more work from that artist, I've included a link in the description section of this video to his website, so be sure to check him out. Also, my good online friend Gina sent me some goodies as well, which we buddy read this together, and she found me a vintage paperback of Sweetheart, Sweetheart by Bernard Taylor. So, as many of you know, I absolutely love vintage paperbacks. I love the covers. I love how they just look in general. And everything about it, even the back part, like, you just don't see this anymore. And I really miss that type of craftsmanship in a cover. So I'm happy to receive that, and she also sent me this goodie, which she had bought herself a copy, and when I saw the name Elizabeth Engstrom on there, I was like, oh my god, I don't know what story it is, but I know it's going to be a good story because she is an amazing author. So she surprised me and ended up getting me an additional copy. So yeah, those are some of the presents that I received, and I absolutely love those, so thank you both. And now that I've covered all of that, it's time to close out this video, which before I do, I would like to thank these amazing people for contributing to my Patreon account. Here's a list of my Patreon contributors, and as you can tell, some of them are creators, so be sure to check out their work. Also, if you would like to follow me on Patreon, I have a link available in the description section of this episode, where for the total of $5 a month, I'll give you a shout out at the end of my videos like what you see here. And if there's a certain profession you would like for me to tie to your name, just let me know and I'll do it. Also, I do have a $10 tier available where for $10 a month, I'll give you the shout out like you see here, but I also do creepy photography on the side. So at the beginning of every month, I'll send you over one of my creepy photos. And once you receive that, you can print it off, do whatever you like. So if you're able to do this, that's awesome. If not, no sweat. I just hope you return to this channel so we can have a good time together. And if you would like to hunt me down on social media, links to my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are all available in the description section of this episode. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe and click that notifications bell because I have more videos coming in the near future. So until we see each other again, I hope all is well and sweet nightmares.